Good morning. Today is August 15th, 2024. This is the Cuyahoga County Equity Commission meeting, and my name is David Merriman. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services. I welcome our guests. We're going to begin with a roll call. So on behalf of HR, I'd like to introduce yourself. We have alternates today, and please say your name and the role that you're serving.
Kimberly Coleman, Human Resources Manager.
For the Department of Public Safety and Justice Affairs.
I am Jill Smilik. I'm an alternate for Director Brandy Carney.
And I'm the representative for the Department of Health and Human Services, David Merriman. I understand Vaughn Johnson is unavailable at this time, but will be joining us shortly. And then lastly, for the Department of Equity and Inclusion,
Jennifer Wilson, alternate for Director Lenora Lockett.
Wonderful. So we do have a quorum. We're going to begin with a review and approval of the minutes. The minutes have been posted and distributed. Does anybody have any comment or any revisions to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Public comment. Has anyone signed in for public comment?
No.
Wonderful. We're going to move on then. Opening remarks, and what I'll do is I'm going to turn to my left and I'll ask Jill if there's any opening remarks on behalf of her department.
Sure. So Public Safety and Justice Services had a very eventful week last week. We were hosting Camp Hope, which is our annual summer camp for children who have been exposed to violence. So we pull kids from a number of different Cleveland communities or Cleveland neighborhoods, as well as multiple suburbs. We probably had the most representation of diverse cities this year than we did in any other year. So our goal is to just kind of bring them out to a summer camp experience that they might not get otherwise because of the sort of the inherent chaos that comes with living in a home where there's violence, whether it's domestic violence or exposure to community violence. The kids who joined us this year ranged from victimization with child abuse and domestic violence all the way up to witnessing homicides and unfortunately witnessing parental homicides as well. So we work very closely too with law enforcement because we know that a lot of times these kids have no positive experience with anyone in the public safety field. So we do what's called First Responders Day while we're at camp, where we invite police, fire, EMS to join us for the day and just kind of hang out. We do ask them to come in some sort of uniform that makes it clear that they are first responder or law enforcement, just to kind of build on that idea that kids can trust police, they can ask for help when they need to ask for help, and just kind of hopefully build some stronger connections between kids and the communities that they live in. So this camp was going on when the tornadoes happened, and the camp unfortunately was in the direct path of the tornado that went through Cuyahoga County. There was a tree that fell onto one of the cabins where 4 of our oldest boys were sheltering. So we had, unfortunately, some additional trauma exposure while we were out there. But the kids did amazing. They still worked with their counselors and their therapists while they were there on the site of the camp. The camp did amazing work. I reached out to every first responder saying, I understand community priorities have changed in the last couple of days, and we get it if you can't make it. To a department, to an officer, every single one of them still came. They brought snacks, they brought water, they asked what they could do to help clean up the camp. It was really an amazing community display, I think, and really showed the kids that their community is there for them and is there to support them in their healing process. So that was a success. Thank you to David and HHS for all the support that they provided and they're continuing to provide to arrange for emergency food for people who can't necessarily afford to replace what they lost last week during the power outage. We've got our emergency management team is still going out into the community. I was just on the phone with them. They're leaving right now to go do some more damage assessments. We're doing our best to get some public assistance into the community. As of right now, there is no individual assistance for people who had tree damage or lost any kind of property value because of storm damage. So that's difficult, and we're seeing that's heavier hitting in what we call our equity zones. People who live in areas that didn't have strong infrastructure investment, it just got a little bit worse and a little bit harder for them. So we're mindful of that, and we'll continue to do as much as we can to bring resources to the community. So that's what I have right now, just because that's what's taking up all of my brain space at the moment. So thank you.
Any questions for Jill? Great, I'm gonna turn to Kim. Kim, anything you'd like to share?
Good morning. I would like to share some remarks, some updates from our Human Resources Department on behalf of our Director, Sarah Nemisto. Couple policies that we are in the middle of working on. We submitted to County Council last month a proposed ordinance to adopt a remote work policy that would be applicable to Cuyahoga County employees who are subject to the handbook. So the remote work would offer numerous benefits, including increased job satisfaction and reduced commuting time and cost. Additionally, offering the flexible work options can help us attract and retain our employees, making Cuyahoga County a desired employer of choice. The terms of the proposal: remote work will be performed in a designated alternative location outside of a county facility, and it will be generally limited to no more than 2 days per week. Each agency and department would be tasked with establishing and implementing their own policy in accordance with the framework of the policy as it was presented to council, with the approval, of course, of our Director of HR and the Chief of Staff. So recognizing that not all positions or employees are suitable for remote work, it will identify criteria that departments must consider in determining whether a position is suitable for remote work. Also, it expressly provides that remote work is a management option as opposed to an employee right. We submitted the proposal to council on July 16th, and it has been referred to the Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee for discussion at its next meeting. So hopefully the next meeting we have, we'll be able to give another update on that. Volunteerism policy. Our HR team, we're working on a volunteerism policy for employees. We strongly encourage employees to become involved in volunteer activities that enhance and serve the communities in which we live and work. I know the committee, a few months ago, we had a presentation from College Now about becoming mentors and help volunteering within the community. So the purpose of this policy is to support community engagement that improves the quality of life and social impact of on our residents, and it inspires our employees to want to make a difference. So this is just in the beginning stages, but the policy would set parameters on what would be approved volunteer opportunities and how it would coordinate with work hours. So once we do get that completed, we'll work with the Chief of Staff to make some revisions just to make sure it's how we want it to look before we would present it to council. Civility training. So our training team rolled out a mandatory civil treatment training program for the organization. The program provides methods for leaders and employees to work together to identify, prevent, and correct uncivil behavior in the workplace. So civility training is a key component of the successful implementation of our organization's DEI initiatives. It teaches employees how to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts constructively, and that we all must respect differences. Civil treatment for leaders began on March 6th. This is for managers, supervisors, directors. And as of the end of July, we had 598 county leaders that have already completed the training, which is phenomenal. Training team has received a lot of positive feedback from the sessions. I thought the session was great. I'm sure Jill, David took the sessions. It was Jennifer. It was really good. The training component for employees began at the end of June, and the employee classes will continue throughout the fall and the winter. So hopefully we'll get the employees all trained up by the end of the year. And then finally, we have an internal HR DEI committee that continues to work within the organization to ensure that our employees are engaged and foster a sense of inclusion and belonging. And we're very proud that this is our second year. We host a panel series called Can We Talk? Conversations That Matter. And we like to talk about topics related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, not just in the organization, but in the community. In June, we had We Are Better Together. That was the title of our conversation. And we helped celebrate Pride Month with an enlightening conversation spotlighting support throughout Cuyahoga County for the LGBTQIA plus community. Our partners were members from County Council. We had directors from Metro Health System, the LGBT Community Center of Greater Cleveland, and our Division of Children and Family Services. So they provided a lot of information, and it was a great discussion. So, will you ask what's coming up next? Well, next month, we're going to have our panel that focuses on voting in the upcoming November election. Can We Talk? Conversations That Matter, Making Your Vote Count will be held on Friday, September 20th, 2024, and we will share more information as we finalize the details. And that completes my report out.
So, Kim, I had a question. In terms of the civility training, I think as and then civil treatment, are those separate trainings? Because I know I've had several of my department directors ask me if they've been going to the trainings that are in this room with Tri-C that I think involve the cabinet. I think that's not the civility training.
No.
Okay.
The civility training is civil treatment. It's a program that our Department of OED rolled out.
Okay.
And it's basically it's a half a day session.
Okay.
With different leaders throughout the organization, and you go over scenarios. You talk about different things, but that may be different from what you're referring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions for Kim?
Kim, I have a question. The Can We Talk sessions, are those streamed? Are those
Yes,
live streamed? Okay,
they're all
Thanks.
streamed on the YouTube channel. We have them in the county council chambers. Usually it's 10 a.m. on those Fridays, but it is live streamed, and they are recorded, so they're all out there.
Okay.
If you just go in and you put in "Can We Talk," they'll all come up. I think we're on like our 7th one. So it was when we first started it. We didn't know how it would take off, but it has really taken off, and we've gotten. As we go forward, we always get a report from IT on the viewership, so it has steadily increased. So we're very excited.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Kim? Jennifer.
Okay. I have a few DEI updates on behalf of Director Lenore Lockett. Since the last Equity Commission meeting, DEI had their 2024 Mid-Year Equity Summit that was held virtually June 13th, and it was a deeper dive into the DEI scorecard and also an opportunity to get input from various departments' leadership. DEI had their second vendor day that was held July 18th. Various departments collaborated with us. We have representatives from purchasing, HR, Public Works, HHS, Medical Examiner, Department of Development, IT, Fiscal Office, and Public Safety and Justice Services. The next vendor day will be October 18th. The upcoming trainings that we have, one coming up next is in September for the What's Next program. It's going to focus on the work-life balance and how it's important to strive for balance to stay healthy and productive. Those will begin in September. We will have 4 virtual and 2 in-person sessions. And then we also have the town hall makeup sessions for management. Those are for newly promoted supervisors. Those are starting next week. And then we have the town hall trainings for makeup sessions for new employees. Those will be starting in October. We will have in-person and virtual sessions. Our updates.
Any questions for Jennifer? So, a few updates from the Department of Health and Human Services. First, I just want to pause and thank all the departments that supported our Family Fun Day. It's an annual tradition that has been a priority for the Department of Health and Human Services for many years. In the past, this was provided directly next to the Virgil Brown Building. A few years ago, we moved to Public Square. Had some disruptions with COVID, but are now back in I think, in full glory. We had our Family Fun Day last Tuesday, just before the storm, which was very fortunate. And we had amazing turnout. We were very grateful to have as many volunteers from the Department of Health and Human Services as we did, but also other departments and some of the departments around the table. And I felt like this is exactly the sort of work that the county should be leading, and very forward in our engagement of the public, bringing resources and opportunities for families. At times we are responding to the biggest social problems that exist in our country and have difficult mandates and decisions to make, and we are able to do that. We don't shy away from difficult decisions, but we are also assets. We also bring a lot of healing, a lot of growth, and for us to be able to go out into the community and to offer those, and just even in a day where parents are looking for services for their kids, they were getting backpacks, preparing their kids to go to school, I think is important. And it's something that we need to do more of as a county, and I think we need to do it more with our partner agencies whenever possible. I do also just want to recognize that 3 of our fellows that are here with us, they're off screen, they're across the room. Deja, Katura, and Morgan were all volunteers at the Family Fun Day, and with little notice and no preparation, asked to do face painting for the entire day. And it was not something that sounds like a big deal, but I would say I would be terrified if I had to. And the 3 of them stepped up, and it was just it was a carnival-like atmosphere. Something that the county is not really known for in terms of having fun, but we can do more. Similarly, we had a great turnout for Pride this year, and I think again a lot of folks from other departments joined us. And I believe this needs to be a part of what we do moving forward. We want to take a second and talk a bit about, as Joe mentioned, the storm. The storm did hit, and we are still assessing the impact of the tornadoes and the disaster. Preliminary assessments are that between 25,000 and 50,000 SNAP recipients lost their power, they lost their SNAP benefits, and we're working with the state of Ohio on trying to facilitate a waiver to get those benefits restored administratively. In the absence of that waiver, we will most likely see an overwhelming amount of work that will really disrupt our operation for potentially weeks or months to come. So, as Joe said, I think the assessments continue. Unfortunately, the impact is disproportionately on poor communities, largely communities of color, and our teams are working policy, practice, and partnership to try to respond more effectively than we have in the past. A lot more to come. Unfortunately, a lot more work to come, and we expect significant disruption of our services. I drove by the Virgil Brown Building on Monday, and there's a line wrapped around the building of people showing up to fill out paper forms. I watched as the center manager, the senior leader for that specific center, and his deputy walked the line with clipboards and papers, talking to clients, doing what they can. But I just want to acknowledge this will be a point of disruption, and we appreciate the public's patience as we work through it. The last thing I just share is our Office of Reentry is spearheading a new initiative where they are now funding summer youth employment. As many people know, there's an annual program of summer youth employment that is funded by DHHS. Literally have millions of dollars and put thousands of young residents into jobs for the summer. As the summer ends and school begins, a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds are looking for what to do next. Many of them living in communities that don't have well-established retail, they don't have access to transportation to get to communities where there are a lot of jobs, and so we subsidize employment. And this year, the Office of Reentry had some extra funding, and they've stepped forward, partnering with the City of Cleveland. And together, we're going to extend the summer jobs of 18 and 19-year-olds through the month of September. One thing we've recognized is these summer employment opportunities are great to help engage youth, that help connect them to adults and programs and services that are positive and enable their growth. They also frequently lead to strong relationships that prevent sometimes some other damaging behaviors and criminal justice involvement. There's actually a case research study that we published, or while you published with our support, that demonstrated that impact. So our Office of Reentry is stepping in. This is the first time they're doing it, and I think this is another example of interoperability where they understand how Job and Family Services has had a summer employment. They have some dollars, and we're bringing together resources and strategies, putting youth in front, and really working to help them gain employment, also develop relationships, develop skills. So hopefully this will be a positive summer experience. I think that's the last thing that I would share. Are there any questions? All right. Hearing none, I think we're going to move on to our next agenda item. Grow America, programs and services to support businesses. I think is Jacob. Are you handling that, or are we waiting for Vaughn?
He had something to say.
Oh,
Yeah, so,
Sorry.
no worries. So, I know Vaughn was originally supposed to step in today, but due to his not being here yet, I do have some updates on behalf of the Department of Development.
Sorry, I missed you. Go for it.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, and that actually kind of leads us into the presentation further on as well. So, to begin, we are continuing our series of inviting one of our capital partners to share how they leverage county resources to work with MDEs. Today we have Mary Lou with Grow America, which was formerly National Development Council. So to continue from there, we have a couple points to talk about for the Department of Development. One of them being that we welcomed an international delegation from countries around the world, which included Azerbaijan, Brazil, Cambodia, Chile, Ecuador, Ethiopia, Georgia, Ghana, India, Malaysia, Morocco, Peru, Poland, United Republic of Tanzania, and the People's Republic of China. So with that international delegation, we discussed small business, economics, economic development, workforce, technology, and international trade. And actually, our summer public policy fellow, Luisa Duarte, from Brazil, was there to represent as well. So from there, we continue our participation in several MBE entrepreneurial events, which included Congresswoman Shontel Brown's Small Business Expo, which we had 87 minority-owned businesses reach out to us from that expo. The City of Garfield Heights held a small business event, which showcased 12 small businesses within Garfield Heights. We had the opportunity to speak with them afterwards and continue support through the Office of Small Business. And then we also were there in support of the vendor fair, representing the Department of Development and providing support as small business owners moved their way around through the tables and were able to gain some insight on what their next steps might look like. And then finally, we also participate ongoing with the Business Growth Collaborative, which works with several of our capital financing partners to showcase small businesses in different areas. And we are able to both present to those small businesses and our partners where we're currently at with the Office of Small Business, and then also work with those small businesses to give them further guidance on how we can support. So the awards that were previously mentioned in our last meeting for the small business support grants have been given to 6 organizations. So this grant will work with our capital partners to support ongoing technical assistance and funding opportunities for minority-owned and women-owned businesses. And then just a couple of statistics for you guys. Our capital partners reported that they helped 660 minority-owned business enterprises with technical assistance and funding throughout 2023, with about $1.3 million in county funding. And then, although SkillUp has sunset, around 1,447 employees are going to be trained or have been or will be trained, and nearly half of them are people of color. And then of course, with the Office of Small Business, we provide ongoing support to minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, both with our external partners and internal partners. That's all.
Any questions for Jacob? Thanks for stopping me. I do want to share, there have been a lot of discussions with the law department and some of our our partner agencies, peer agencies, about how we present business opportunities to nonprofits especially, but also have very high expectations for their organizational capacity. And I think this is an area for us to, talk about moving forward, because even though I know we're in really full momentum to support small business growth, I also think as a funder, as a business generator ourselves, at times we are very focused on serving a cohort of agencies or partnering with a cohort of agencies that have a level of capacity that unfortunately keeps some agencies out. So I think this is something as an organization we should be talking about. I'll follow up with you, Jacob and Vaughn. Maybe circle back around to make sure our own policies support that small business operation as well.
Absolutely. It's something we've been in talks internally to ensure that there's fair and just ongoing support to other organizations that might not necessarily be the traditional type, both from small businesses that want to help other small businesses or nonprofit organizations that wish to do the same.
I think for us, the main policy issue is just sort of the requirements for insurance that the county has, which are very high, and that we do for good reason, and it makes sense from a fiscal standpoint. But I think we've got some feedback that at times those requirements can make it difficult for an early entry or a small business to start to work with us. So it's something I know that we're having a lot of conversations. The law department is very much interested to understand and make adjustments, and so hopefully more to come.
Absolutely.
All right. Any questions for Jacob? Here, then we're going to move on to the next part of the agenda, which is Grow America. So I know we have a guest. If I can ask you to introduce yourself.
Sure.
And we'll turn it over to you.
My name is Mary Lauk. I am the Director of Credit for Grow America Lending. I'm a resident of Northeast Ohio. I live in Youngstown and have been with Grow America for the last several years. Our organization has an office down on Superior. We have a long history of working in Cleveland and Cuyahoga County. So I think with that, we can get started with our PowerPoint. Okay. So Grow America was founded on the thought that we wanted to bring equality to communities that are typically overlooked. And we were founded 50 plus years ago, and unfortunately we are still needed today because that equity is still missing from a lot of communities. So that is our mission. We do that in a variety of ways. We do that through lending to small businesses, providing technical assistance to small businesses, and also through our training of other economic development professionals to go out into the communities and help further our mission through their own organizations. So as I said, we've been working in Cuyahoga County for quite a few years. We have Grow America. Most of us are remote workers. We have a headquarters in New York City, but most of us are spread throughout the country. There are there's 8 to 10 of us that live in Northeast Ohio. So we are here. We're in the community. We, spend our money here. So we have been lending with the county since 2006, and we have about $39 million has gone out to businesses in the region. That equates to about 240 loans. It's gone through 5 different lending programs, and all of our lending across all of our programs are always either MWBE or low to moderate income. That's our focus for all of our lending. So our organization is uniquely structured. We actually have 2 CDFI lenders, the Grow America Fund, which is 7A, SBA 7A lending. And we were also part of the PPP loan program. And then SILF Community Impact Loan Fund, that is the arm of our organization that has participated in the Capital Access Fund, the stabilization loans, and the Small Business Support Program. So we have had a variety of programs that have served Cuyahoga County over the years. So 39 million. So the larger number of lending comes from, a lot of it was through the PPP program. Obviously, we served a variety of businesses through PPP. I was working for a bank at the time, and I can tell you, without organizations like Grow America, the small minority-owned businesses would not have gotten access to PPP. Organizations like Grow America and other, nonprofit lenders were vital to getting that access for those business owners. We count that we've created, our loan programs since 2006 have created, just over 3,500 jobs. 1,700 of them coming from, created or retained, it should say. Just over 1,700 or almost 1,800 in our SBA lending, and then another 900 or so in our PPP program. And out of all of those loans, 67% of the funds went to MWBE businesses. So this is our Grow Cuyahoga Fund. We've had 57 SBA loans to small businesses in Cuyahoga County. They average just under $500,000. The smallest loan was actually $30,000, which that's also something unique that we are able to provide. Many times getting access to small dollar amounts is very difficult, and unfortunately our MWBE businesses, that's what they need. They need access to $25,000, $30,000 loans. They can't handle or need larger dollar amounts, and that's where they get left out. Banks, unfortunately, due to their models for profit, are not able to really lend those small dollar amounts. And that's where organizations such as Grow America and the other participants in this program are able to really get to assist those small businesses. So the largest loan was $1.6 million, and 69% of the loans went to economically distressed census tracts. So, and 49% of those borrowers were MWBE. Those are fairly typical SBA loans. They range in term and rate. SBA lending many times is prime-based, so it's a little expensive right now, but that's the market. But it is something that we are able to provide. We, as opposed to other types of lenders, nonprofit CDFI lenders are able to provide MWB and economically distressed businesses with assistance to get through the loan process. It is not easy to get through a loan process. It is hard to, when it's not something that you understand, it is hard to get through a loan process. So we're able to help them through that process, provide support using, TA funding to help them get through the process, whether that's help with getting their financials organized, getting them access to marketing or accounting professionals that can help them further their business. But we truly and fully believe that technical assistance going hand in hand with lending is the best thing that we can do for our small business owners. Giving them one or the other is only getting them halfway there. It has to be married together for it to all work. Our Community Impact Loan Fund is a less stringently structured program. Obviously, SBA has their own set of requirements, but these programs can be a little bit more flexible, and we have been able to do a variety of lending, and 91% of that portfolio has gone to MWBE businesses. So right now, I believe we have 99 loans out in the county. We have 91% of the loans were issued to MWBE businesses, and 80% of them actually went to minority business enterprises. and there were almost 60% were issued to women business owners. And our different funds that are available in Cuyahoga are the Innovative Equity Accelerator program. So this is something that we have been working on since after COVID. It is an ability to give business owners a loan, and then at the end of it, if they have done all of the things that we need them to do, so they have filed their taxes, they've maintained operations, they've done what we need them to do, the last 20% of that loan is then forgiven. So in essence, they get a $100,000 loan and they only have to pay $80,000. That helps them build equity in their own businesses. It's a program that we are super excited about. We have, obviously Cuyahoga is one area that we're running this program, but we do have it in several other areas of the country, and it has been very well received. So that is very exciting for us. And then that is the basis of our new partnership with the new funds that we'll be receiving using the Equity Accelerator model, and then we will also be able to provide them with access to our Entrepreneurial Academy. And that is really helping business owners understand their financial statements and how to use those financial statements to actually run their businesses. And it also gives them a base knowledge that they don't have to fully rely on an accounting professional. They can look at their financial statements themselves. Unfortunately, we have seen that when business owners do not have that base knowledge, it is very easy for them to be taken advantage of by unscrupulous professionals. So giving them that knowledge and helping them understand how those financial statements play into their day-to-day operations of their business, things like cash burn, how much cash do they need to operate their business on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, being able to plan for that. The number one reason why small businesses fail is a lack of access of working capital, cash. They may have the business, they may have the sales, they may have the reputation, but if they don't have the cash on hand to be able to bridge the gap, there's no chance for them to survive. So having them understand that and giving them those skills that they can carry with them is very important. We are currently operating the Academy in several different areas, and we are actually working on expanding it next year to include other topics as well, to include more than just the financial management portion. So we anticipate that we should be able to benefit 90% or more of the applicants should be MWBE. So, and then in addition to that, if we find businesses that are larger and they need larger dollar amounts, because these will be, a little bit on the smaller side of loans, we still have our 7A programs and our other programs that we can bring to the table and help the businesses that may be a little bit bigger and may need, if they're buying a building or doing, some type of major equipment upgrade, we can use those programs as well. So we have a link to our annual report, and Connor McCarthy is our Director of Lending. He will be involved in this program, and then I'm the credit manager, so I will see every single request that comes through the program. So we are very excited about getting this program off the ground and start helping the small business owners of Cuyahoga County. What questions can I answer for you?
Can you, first, thank you very much for being here today. Very appreciate it. It was a great presentation. Can you share a little bit about the major sectors that you focused on? If you have any details of or examples of loans that sort of stand out for you?
There are so many in my head. But we try not to have a focus on any particular industry because the small business owners are so unique. It never fails to amaze me when I actually get out to be able to talk to small business owners, the ideas that they have. The uniqueness of their skill sets. And so we try to look at each and every applicant individually. We, again, unlike some of the larger financial institutions that are publicly held, we don't have to worry about having like a concentration in one sector. So if we end up having a concentration of, say, 30% of the businesses that apply are in hospitality, then that's what it is. That's obviously what's needed in our community. Whereas, sometimes with banking, traditional banking, they have to balance out their portfolio a little bit more. So we try to keep it open. We have done everything from restaurants to retail to manufacturing. We're working with a small business owner right now that is a dog trainer, which is close to my heart because I'm an animal lover. And he's been operating out of his home and out of, going to people's home. And he's looking to get into a retail space. And so we're helping him, that his request is in process, and we're helping him with some funding so that he can get that, those first month's rent and, some of the leasehold improvements that he needs to do, and then some more access to working capital to start the business and grow it. It's a very small business. It will probably only employ 1 or 2 people, but it's a vitally important business for this person and the community that they serve. And that's just, I was just looking at it yesterday, so that's the reason why it came to mind this morning. But we have done a wide variety of loans in Cuyahoga. We've done some retail stores. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of it, but they have 2 different locations across the county. So yeah, it's just a wide variety.
Great. First, let me pause. Any questions for Mary? Anybody have other I'd like to learn? Who is in this space with you? I understand there are a number of organizations, and can you speak to that, and if there's coordination or support from each other?
There are. So I think one of the best things that came out of COVID was the fact that organizations, CDFIs, community support organizations, there was more competition prior to COVID, and with COVID we learned to work together because we had to. There was just no choice, and that has continued. So we try to work. We will work with anyone that wants to work with us. We are completely open to that. We try to coordinate with local agencies in any community that we work in. Even when we're doing lending only in a community, we will try to find resources there so that we can refer our borrowers to the local SBDCs or the SCORE centers or whatever's available. The smaller technical service providers can be vital. They can provide a one-on-one support that is incredible. So we really try hard to make sure that we are very inclusive, and if there is a borrower that would be better served or a client that would be better served with another organization versus ours, we have no problem contacting them and saying, hey, we really think you guys could help this borrower more than we could. Would you be interested?
That's great.
There is more than enough businesses that are in need of assistance that there's no need to be competitive about it. And same thing, we've had organizations come to us and say, we were able to get this client so far, but we can't get them to the next level. And we've been able to step in and help. And then our goal is always to grow them to the point that they mature into a business that is, we call it bankable, that, gets to the point where they can get a loan from a bank and they might not need as much technical assistance, but will, because of their experiences with all of us, become an advocate for the process and advocating for small business owners to get technical assistance. I think sometimes that's the hardest part, is convincing the small business owner that they need to take the time to go through technical assistance. I hear many times, I'm so busy. I'm the accountant, I'm the lawyer, I'm the salesperson, I'm the cleaner, I'm everything. I don't have time to really sit down and do this. And one of the unique aspects of our program is they can do it online. So they don't have to stop what they're doing and go to a center and meet with someone. They can do it online and they have access to it that way. But there are people that really do want to meet with someone in person. They like the face-to-face. And, you know, we can provide that as needed in Cuyahoga, absolutely. There's a bunch of us that here, including myself. But maybe it's better for them to go to a neighborhood organization that might be right down the street. And in that case, that's who we would look to partner with.
That's great. Any other questions? Thank you so much for coming today. Thanks for the work you do and the investments you're making. I think we all recognize that for, at least within human services, so much of what we respond to is poverty, and that the best response to poverty is a job. And I think our services are increasingly tracking the business community to understand how we partner to help our residents get those jobs or to grow those jobs. And I know that you're an important part of that. So thanks for coming in today, and thanks for doing that work.
Thank you for having us, and thank you to the county for continuing to support small businesses through all of the programs that you do. I can tell you, working across the country, not every county is doing as much as Cuyahoga.
It's great to hear. All right, we're going to move forward. So I think our next agenda item is going to be talking about the meeting schedule, which I think Jennifer will be walking us through. I think after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment of chair privilege, and I'm going to turn to the various fellows that are in the room with us and give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and say where they're placed, share some about what their goals are and the projects they're working on, including maybe some of our former fellows. So what I'll do first is, though, I'll go to Jennifer to kick us off with our schedule.
Okay, for the 2025 schedule, these dates will be finalized in the next meeting in November, but the dates will be February 20th, May 15th, August 21st, and then November 20th. In November, you will go over those dates again and secure so they can secure the room. And then the working group follows the Equity Commission group. They'll be the following month, and then meet on the first Thursday at 10 a.m. So just think about those dates so you can be prepared to secure them in November.
Sounds good. Any questions on the dates? All right, so before we get to closing remarks, what I'm going to do is I do want to go back to this opportunity to allow our fellows to introduce themselves. And so to make it easy, what I want to do is I want to begin with the fellow alumni. And I'm going to ask Jacob to kick us off, because I think a lot of times folks understand that, what can begin as a summertime experience can sometimes turn to something else. And so I know we'll have Jacob go, we'll have our fellows. Do we have any other fellow alumni around the table? Okay. All right. So Jacob?
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Jacob Beed. I was a summer public policy fellow last year. I originally was, my main goal that was given to me was to complete the Site Ohio work. So when I came in, I was sat down and said, hey, this deadline is June 30th. Good luck, let us know if you need anything. And since then, I've been able to grow a huge, not only have the opportunity to show leadership, but also have a team that supports me throughout, both internally from the departments, and every department I've had the opportunity to work with, and our external organizations at this point as well. So moving on from there, I was given the opportunity to extend my stay, not only for the ongoing Site Ohio work that's happening, and actually we have a site visit for 3 different sites. So we are pursuing the authenticated status for Site Ohio, which the county has never had before, and we are hoping to get 3. And then ongoing from there, providing small business support. Originally with the stimulus grant, I was able to do the follow-up for that, which was integral into actually us winning a national award through NACED. And then working with the Department of Economic Development, working with IT and communications, and putting together the Office of Small Business and how we format that, and then now also supporting small businesses day in and day out. So that's what I do internally here. It's been an incredible opportunity, and actually thank you to David for the interview that we had, what was that, December of 22?
I think so.
Yeah, it was my practice interview, and that through Cleveland State University, and that's how I was able to get this opportunity and learn more about what I can do as a public servant. And so I'm actually going to be graduating from Cleveland State this fall, and I was accepted into the Accelerated Master's Program for Urban Planning and Development. So I'll be continuing on through 2026 for that.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to just start with Couture, and if I could ask you again, just give us your name, where you're placed. If you have other affiliations, that's good, and just sense of your goals and projects.
It's nice to meet everyone. My name is Katura Pleasant. Like Jacob, I am a Viking, so I did my bachelor's in public administration and international relations with the goal of being a lawyer, but then I realized I have a public service motivation, so I took a gap year where I served in AmeriCorps and a charter school, and I was a reading tutor, and that kind of helped strengthen my goals as far as child welfare and education policy. I am currently an MPA candidate at Cleveland State University's Levin School with an expected graduation date of May, so wish me luck. But Jake, if you need a friendly face, you'll see me around long nights. I also have a passion for women's rights as far as it relates to period poverty and making sure that all menstruating people have access to free menstrual products, because I believe that isn't right, because you wouldn't take toilet paper to the bathroom with you. And so I just like to expand whatever I can to just understand what issues are plaguing the Cuyahoga County and Cleveland specifically, see if any projects you need assistance on that relate to my interest. I am available, so it's wonderful to meet everyone, and I will say in my 2 weeks here, I have been amazed in the support I've been given and the ability to just see whatever I'm interested in, follow through with it, so it's nice to be a part of your team.
Hi everyone, my name is Deja Brown. I am a rising senior at Baldwin Wallace University, where I'm studying political science and minoring in research and data analytics and sociology. A long-winded way to say I want to do public policy after I graduate. I'm currently placed with Health and Human Services, and I've been working with Immigration Services since June. I'm a Cuyahoga County Public Policy Fellow, so a little bit different than what Katura and Morgan are, which are Cleveland Foundation Fellows. I got the opportunity to extend my fellowship throughout the end of the calendar year to continue working with Immigration Services, seeing where our immigrants are in the county, how are they coming to the U.S., what can we do to actually benefit them. Outside of that, I'm interested in racial and economic equity, so looking at where our small businesses are that are women-owned and Black-owned, and seeing how we can best support them as well. Thank you.
My name is Morgan Ashley. I went to Baldwin Wallace for my undergrad and graduated with a major in sociology. I just, in May, finished my Master of Social Work degree at Case Western, their Mandel School. Like Deja said, I'm a Cleveland Foundation Public Service Fellow. So it's a little bit different. It's a year-long fellowship. So I'm hoping that this will turn into a job with the county. I'm very interested in anything policy related. Systemic change is a big part of my education and interest area. So I'm open to pretty much any project related to that. I would love to get more experience in that area. But as for like specific interest areas, legal system reform is a big interest of mine. So I plan to talk to the Office of Reentry. But yeah, again, I'm open to anything.
Hi everyone, my name is Louisa Bachi. I am a rising at Ohio Wesleyan University. I am double majoring in quantitative economics and finance with a minor in mathematics and business. I'm a summer public policy fellow, and I've been placed with the Department of Development. So I've been working mainly with economic development and the Office of Small Business. Throughout the summer, my main projects were related to the Office of Small Business. I've been benchmarking other offices of small business across the country, interviewing some representatives and trying to understand and come up with strategies, metrics, what are our best practices, what are some things we could improve, so we can always keep improving our services and have a larger reach within Cuyahoga County. And I've also been working with content for our website, on our landing page for the Department of Development, the Office of Small Business landing page as well, and also certain projects to optimize our services and our office and the department more efficient. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Economic development and economic growth, I'd say, are my main interest, and I see a lot of potential in Cuyahoga County, and I'm very grateful for it.
Are there any questions for any of our fellows? Well, hearing none, we're going to move on to closing remarks and then adjournment. We'll go in reverse order. So Jacob, you ended with us, and so we'll let you go first. Any closing remarks on behalf of development?
No, we're just continuing the good work that we're doing with the Office of Small Business. We look forward to continuing our work and helping minority-owned and women-owned businesses through our different avenues that we're exploring. So.
Great. Jennifer, on behalf of the Department of Equity and Inclusion?
No, we're just continuing all of our trainings through the end of the year.
Thank you. Kim?
I just wanted to invite everyone September 20th to join us either in person here for our, Your Vote Matters panel discussion. And we will also have Yvonne Dort, who's our voting coordinator for the county. She's going to set up a table so people can register to vote. So I'm hopefully having a meeting with communications so we can really push this out so it can be a big deal. So I would invite any of you ladies, if you wanted to work with us or come on over, we are more than happy to have as much support as we can. We'll probably shoot out flyers, so if I send you one, if you want to put it out on your LinkedIn page, we want to really, really make sure people are aware because we work with the Board of Elections. Councilwoman Meredith Turner is going to be a panelist. We try to give out a lot of information, and that's still before the end for voter registration. So we still have time after that date to get as many people registered and get as much information out on people checking to make sure that they haven't been removed from the roll, and how to get registered, what you need to bring to when you vote, what's even on the ballot. So hopefully we'll be able to share a lot of that information. So that's stay tuned. We'll have more information coming out in the know and through our Cuyahoga County social media pages.
Great. And just will acknowledge that the fellows are in the same office area as Yvonne, who works on our team. So I think we'll make those connections. Jill?
No real closing comments, just from each of you. Thank you for sharing where you've been and where you're headed. And from a few of you, I heard things like women's rights and justice system reform. So just so you're aware, Public Safety and Justice Services has an entire office for witness victim services, so victims of crime. And a large focus of that is on intimate partner violence and domestic violence, including high-risk domestic violence. If you're ever interested in learning about the victim side of things, please feel free to get in touch anytime.
And I'll just close by sharing, I think, Jill's awareness that there are so many departments, there are so many areas in the county that I think address the needs of our residents. And part of our goal in the Equity Commission is to make those become more visible, have the public, and have our own, as in the case of Kim describing, our own staff become aware of the resources that are internal and are available to our employees and their families. Just want to point out that, like Jacob, one of my key leaders is a former fellow, Dan Humphrey, who runs our Department of Performance Evaluation and Performance Evaluation and Innovation. And I think for us in the Equity Commission, some part of this is, there are staff that have been with the county a long time that still need to know what services and strategies are available. Jill and I have been with the county for more than a minute. There are staff that are coming to us from college and I think are starting to explore careers in the county, and we want them to understand what is available, and their staff that have joined us but are seasoned professionals. And regardless of how you're coming here, the goals that we all, I think, are committed to is that everyone has an opportunity to come to serve. Everyone should be expected to lead and to be generating positive ideas. And part of our challenge is to make sure that those ideas and those strategies are disseminated and are available for all to take a look at and to consider. So I want to thank everyone for their participation in the great work they're doing today. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
So moved and seconded. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.